Jeff Norman, the Norman Report.
My name is Malcolm Nance. I'm the Executive Director of the Terror Asymmetrics Project, former U.S. intelligence officer and Chief Terrorism Analyst for NBC News.
So you are one of the guys who, shall we say, leans towards anti-Trump, not to...
All right. All right, you can say that.
Did I understate it?
You need to start reading my work. I lean pro-America, and that means that the current system of mayhem is not pro-America. So.
Well, I want to ask you about some disagreement that I've noticed. I'm not taking any position, I'm just bringing it to your attention.
Sure.
That I've noticed within the intelligence community.
Sure.
Are you familiar with any of the folks in Veteran Intelligence Professionals for Sanity?
Sure.
Okay, so they believe that the DNC emails were not hacked, that they were leaked. Yeah. And some of these guys, I'm not an expert, I'm just telling you,
Sure.
You know what, I feel like I'm on a jury and you're listening to expert testimony.
Go ahead.
You got to like weigh the experts.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and they have somewhat of a track record. Some of those guys were right about weapons of mass destruction and so forth. But it doesn't seem to be getting into the news very much. What is your take on what they have to say?
They are not reading the information objectively. I wrote an entire book, Plot to Hack America, in 5 weeks, based solely on real-time open source information that was coming from the information that was released about the DNC. I mean, I was writing another book about ISIS's hacking operations, but the evidence is overwhelming. I mean, it's overwhelming. They actually sat, CrowdStrike, the security company that was brought in with NSA, actually sat and watched files being transferred, before they stopped it, being transferred to command and control servers that were destinating in Russian military intelligence headquarters, right? And then they found the other entity was all the information was being transferred back to command and control computers. Those are the computers that manage the hack in FSB, also known as the KGB, headquarters. I mean, and you know, the entirety of US intelligence has come to a consensus based on evidence, not just from the United States, but from all of our sister intelligence agencies overseas that also collect intelligence. All right, this wasn't some kid putting a thumbnail in there. They sat in those servers for almost 12 months. They copied everything, every voicemail, every credit card, every email that was sent into the DNC. It was a perfect Watergate 2.0. And the thing is, then that information suddenly, miraculously gets weaponized enough to split the Democratic Party down the middle on the first day of the Democratic National Committee, only to the benefit of one person, Donald Trump. I started my book on July 25th. I finished it on September 3rd. It got published and was available to purchase on September 23rd. The CIA started an identical report with classified information on the same day and delivered their report to President Obama on the same day, September 23rd. Both reports were identical.
So is there incriminating evidence as far as the Team Trump is concerned, either Trump himself or his associates?
That's what they're investigating now. The FBI investigation started under James Comey was not a normal FBI investigation. I go on television, I say this all the time. It started in June of last year. It was a national counterintelligence investigation. The spy hunters of the United States last June 2016 had intelligence that US citizens were in direct and repeated contact with Russian intelligence officers. That's what started all of this. The New York Times reporting on John Brennan, director of the CIA, literally getting on the telephone, calling the director of Russian intelligence personally, saying, I know you did this, we know what you're doing with this, you will secure this, you will stop doing that. President Obama had to call Vladimir Putin on the red phone and say, if you hack this election by going into the voting machines, it's almost equal to war. This is not a game. This is not opinions. This is the collective multi-billion-dollar machine made up of dedicated intelligence professionals who go by the Nathan Hale statue every day, who work in secret, who do this to protect the country. And the worst part is, you'll believe every word we say about ISIS, but people out there won't believe when we tell you that Russia hacked this nation's mindset through a cyber and propaganda warfare operation. Occam's razor. The simplest answer is the best.
Yeah, so I hear. So you mentioned that that's what they're investigating, whether or not there's perhaps unlawful activity on the part of Team Trump. Right. And I think you gave exactly the right answer. You don't really know yet. But do you have a hunch?
Oh, yeah, we got more than a hunch. See, this is the difference. The information that people have been reading in the news media is not evidence. It's intelligence. Intelligence is not evidence until it is transferred into the hands of the Justice Department. So everything that's been going on for the last year is a neck-deep pile of things you might, as civilians, call as evidence. But until it was handed into the hands of Director Comey, and now into the hands of John Mueller, now it's evidence, which is used in trial and jury.
So what do you think the crime is? I don't know if it's a singular crime or crimes plural, but what do you think it is?
Multiple crimes. Right now, there's a lot of information out there that leans towards violations of the Espionage Act of 1917, violations of racketeering, influence, and corrupt organizations, violations of, taking information from foreign nations or working for a foreign nation during an election is electioneering. And there are many other things in the U.S. criminal statutes and the U.S. codes that, a prosecutor like Mueller, the man hired the top 13 financial crime experts in the entirety of the Department of Justice and Treasury. That tells you he believes there is a link between the hacking and Russian intelligence and the finances of everyone involved. So imagine how many crimes are in there. Look, the first guy he hired took down Enron. How many crimes were there?
Well, clearly you have high expectations of Mueller.
Very high expectations.
But Trump is a formidable character, and he's just gone into what you might call war mode with Scaramucci, and that's what I want to get at. Do you have any sense of whether or not this is going to be I'm a layman, and it looks to me like, wow, I've never seen a president and the intel community go after each other like this. Is it escalating? Is it really going to be serious?
Trump has no clue what he's up against. I have this belief, I'm from Philadelphia, born and raised in Philadelphia, and I believe that over at City Tavern, right, one day over beers, Jefferson and Madison were like, okay, what happens if we get a guy who decides he's king? Rich guy, decides he wants to buy the United States, all the parties, he's very popular. What do? All of the systems you see in place, the breaks, the checks, the balances in there, the emoluments clause, all of those things were put together by people who were born and raised in the Enlightenment. And they predicted that someone like this would come here. And you know what? Donald Trump is up against not just James Mueller in the investigation. He's up against the collective will of the United States since 1783 when they put that system in place. And even if people comply with him, all right, that system is going to eat him. It is literally a wood chipper of democracy, and there is no escaping. If he has committed crimes in the past, it is going to come out. These people who are after him now are literally the top bulldogs in U.S. intelligence and the top bulldogs in financial intelligence. He's done.
Well, do you think we're looking at months, years, or what before this?
10 months, so 10 months to a year. It depends. If he tries to fire Mueller, it's going to go to 6 months. And I said this on television, he needs to come clean and beg mercy of the court. The people of the United States put him in, he could get away with, but what he's doing is he's covering up everything. And he's already committed, essentially, acts where where he's obstructing justice numerous times. That was the first in charge of indictment against Richard Nixon.
Do you think there's anything positive to come out of the whole I'm talking about not only Trump, but the reaction to Trump, the whole situation. Do you think there's anything that's good for democracy about all this?
I think he has mobilized American democracy in a way it hasn't been done since Pearl Harbor. It has never been this level of involvement. And at some point, if this gets worse and he gets buggy and he starts pushing back, he's going to find out, what the 75% of the American public that think he was involved are really about. And I don't, democracy is a dirty, messy thing, but it goes both ways. And we have we believe and love the First Amendment. We believe and love in all the amendments to the Constitution. But the one thing we won't do is we won't allow somebody to subvert it.